Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome officially to the DreamHoN Summer Championships 2012. We are now in the round of 128. I'm Zyori here on the DreamHoN SEA channel, yes, pardon me. I am going to be solo casting today, doing a little bit of SEA coverage, and of course the team we are going to be following is ORGE Esports, which will be here on our Hellborn side. They are facing off in the round of 128 in a best-of-3 series against qTm. That's right, a troll team. Very similar to Trademark Esports, except they've added Qs to all the names. Quite interesting indeed. I actually know nothing about this team. I don't know who they are, what their real identity may be, who any of the players are. They did win their first 2 rounds, obviously, as we are still in the single elimination portion of this tournament, and they have made it this far. So it should be interesting. Who knows? It could be some very, very talented trolls, could be some very low-level trolls. Time will tell as we get into this game. Of course, with all things here in the DreamHoN Summer Championships, it's a best-of-3 series coming your way. And I believe that's all we have on the agenda today. So as I mentioned, I am slated to solo cast. It was actually just figured out that I was going to be coming live with you guys with some of these SEA teams. I think yesterday it was actually finalized right before the cast. Obviously, I wasn't here yesterday, so it's sort of a last-minute thing. We are planning on getting a co-caster in here for future weeks, but I will be covering quite a few of the SEA teams throughout the event, so we can all certainly look forward to that, and it will be on this channel, twitch.tv/DreamHoN. The VODs will be posted as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the locks here, and I have to say there is a graphical bug that we're already dealing with here in today's event. Magebane and Pharaoh are not locked in the pool. As you can see by the locks here, those two popped up as soon as the game started, and it's some sort of an issue on my end. I don't know, maybe I needed to reset my client before this game started. I'm not sure how that happened or why those popped up. I haven't even played a game with those two heroes. Whatever the case, they are not in the lock pool, so don't let that deceive you here as we get into the picking stage of this match. So, starting with the hidden bans here, our Legion side, qTm, going to throw out some bans onto Wild Soul and Ophelia, and ORGE Esports going to throw out some hidden bans onto Tempest and Keeper of the Forest. So both teams opting to ban a different set of junglers. Very interesting how that works out as well. So we aren't going to see too much jungling action. If either of these teams is really desperate for a jungler, we could potentially see a Legionnaire, certainly is possible here. Really interesting to see Wild Soul actually banned. I'm guessing that at least a couple of you out there saw the Wild Soul long lane breakdown that I did, I guess about 2 days ago. No, wow, it's been a while now. It's Sunday, jeez. Anyway, 4 days ago or so, we checked out some of the very irritating strategies you can do with Wild Soul, and of course ORGE Esports is one team that has executed it quite well. So a little bit of a respect ban coming out from qTm, and something tells me that qTm here is slightly better than some of us may be expecting. Of course, they are a troll team, but I'll be curious to figure out how good they actually are, and seeing that respect ban come out, well, it could be a step in the right direction. Again, going over the locks here, ignoring the images at the top, as Magebane and Pharaoh are bugged icons. It is Aluna Bubbles, Forsaken Archer, Pebbles Engineer, and Flux all in that locked. Very interesting locks as well, seeing Flux and Engineer up there. We'll see. I mean, ooh, gosh, pardon me. ORGE Esports Malaysia is going to have that second round of lock picks. Of course, qTm will have the first of the next 2, so that could set something up here for ORGE Esports to go ahead and pick up that combination. Of course, it's, Mr. Ghost was the one to lock that Flux, so certainly some possibilities there. Moving right along into the banning phase, Parasite, Tundra, Polywog Priest, Cthulhuphant, Torturer, and Jeraziah are going to come out here in the banning stage. And that takes us straight into the picks. So really not too much jumping out at me from the straight bans here, all very irritating heroes. Haven't really seen much Cthulhuphant play recently. I don't know how ban-worthy he is, but again, I'm talking more so in the international client. These SEA teams do have a slightly different hero usage rate, I think is appropriate to say. So that's kind of the only one that would jump out. Other than that, everything else looks pretty straightforward here. Moving right along into the picks, though, Demented Shaman Kraken going to be the first picks coming out for qTm, and we'll see what they do with this third pick here. But DS Kraken, kind of a throwback picking duo, not necessarily a lane combination, as they do have a couple of options depending on what they do with these upcoming picks here. But a very, very interesting lane. Of course, Kraken's not a hero we see too frequently now. Most of that is because his ultimate was changed. It used to be superior magic. Now, if you get that Shrunken Head, the stun from Release the Kraken doesn't go through Shrunken Head. So that was really one of the big reasons why we saw Kraken kind of dive off as far as pick rate in the competitive scene when we used to see him almost every game. And I'm going to be curious to see how they lane him. Are they going to throw him in a solo lane? Are they going to put him with this Demented Shaman, as I sort of first suspected? We'll see what they do with these last two picks. Of course, Hag probably thinking she's going to be in the Suicide, so very well could be Kraken Demented Shaman. A lot of physical coming out there, so there is definitely some synergy between those two heroes. Over on the Hellborn side of things, though, Magmus Silhouette can be that first set of picks, and it is going to be followed up by a Meraxes pickup. So Orange Esports with a very well-rounded team. They still have a lot of options as well. Magmus Silhouette and Meraxes are all heroes that can be paired up in different combinations depending on what they decide to do down here. So that still makes me wonder, is Orange Esports going to try and go for this Flux Engineer combo? And they certainly are going to have that option available to them right now. That does pose sort of an interesting thought with their lanes, and I'm not so sure that would be the best pickup here, but indeed they may. They're going to go ahead and grab the Engineer. We'll see what they do with that last pick. Of course, Aluna going to be that first pick for qTm. No surprise there. Seen plenty of Aluna as of late. You can see Orange Esports here taking their time. They're going to move straight into the bonus time here, trying to decide what to do with this last pick. Of course, the options still remaining are Bubbles, Forsaken Archer, Pebbles, and Flux. Again, this is not TDM. Right. Update interface in the console. Let's try that. Update interface. That did not fix it. A noble effort, but I'm sorry, that did not fix it. They do go with the Flux pick, though, to finish things off as we were playing around in the console there. Very, very interesting. Like I said, that was something that jumped out at me right away, as Orange Esports could have that duo. And that is going to leave Pebbles to be the last pick here for qTm. So interesting lineups on both sides. Of course, powerful heroes apiece, but really both teams with some interesting picks. Flux Engineer is always an interesting duo. But really, that Demented Shaman Kraken means we are in for a little bit of a treat here. How is Orange Esports going to lane this, though, is the question in the back of my mind. Since they have that Silhouette, I have full confidence they will be able to win this game if it goes into the later region. And this may be one of these situations where we see sort of a carry Pebbles play, depending on how things unfold and how good of a start Pebbles gets as well. Alright, so once again, guys, welcome to game number 1 in this best of 3 series. I am Zyori, and I will be solo casting what looks like it could be a remake here to start things off. So my apologies, but we are going to have to sit through another moment or so of solo Zyori banter. Yes, indeed. So looks like, I don't know what the issue was. We're just going to go back to our static splash here as we wait for the invite to come our way. No problemo, can just hop straight into the next game. Of course, HonCast is also live while this is going on. They are covering, I actually don't know who they are covering today. They are covering someone at their discretion, obviously not Orange Esports. So if you would like to check out the HonCast channel, you can. I do have the streams cataloged at Zyori.tv, but thank you for joining us here and enjoying some SEA action. Like I said, I will be casting hopefully every day for the next 4 days. Same schedule as HonCast for the most part, except I will be covering either Orange Esports Malaysia, Impunity, or MUFC. Those are the 3 Southeast Asian teams we do have in this event at our disposal for streaming. So that is kind of the plan, at least for me. As most of you are pretty well aware, at least, I've been doing much more with Garena as of late, so I'm very happy to be able to do some Garena casting here and check out some of the Southeast Asian teams. Very exciting indeed. Of course, with an event like this, though, starting with the round of 5-12, there is more than enough casting to go around for HonCast, Garena, Zyori, pretty much anyone else who wanted to step up and cast, to be perfectly honest. There are so many games in this tournament. After this, the group stage as well. Should be able to cover quite a few of those. Is the group stage, I guess there is still some overlap in the group stage as well. So regardless, as long as there are Southeast Asian teams in the event, I will be here to cover them. And who knows, I may hop onto the HonCast channel at some point, but I believe it should be Breaky and Traufmador throughout the duration of the event, or at least most of it. Alright, so we do this next game here. Alright, gonna have to remake again here. I believe the issue was that there were no spectator slots in that game. So, sorry about that. Gonna have to sit through yet another one here. Oh, and it was also BP. So, my apologies, my apologies. This event is moving right along, though. We do have the round of 64 coming up tomorrow at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock Pacific, 2100 CET. And then, of course, I believe the day after that is when we actually do the drawing for the group stage. And after that, the group starts. So this event's moving right along, even though it is 40 days of coverage. We are getting dangerously close to the completion of Stage 1, which is just sort of shocking and mind-boggling that it's gone by so quickly, but indeed that is the case. This is still the first game, indeed. We are going to be getting in here, and there's the countdown. Alright, so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned, we did have to remake here, actually go through a couple of lobbies before we finally got it, and we are here ready to make it happen. Everyone going to pick up their heroes, ready up, and hopefully we can get into a lag-free game from this point forward. Certainly looking forward to it. As I mentioned, slated solo cast today, should have a co-caster. At least going to be rotating some co-casters as the event continues. As teams get eliminated and some of those higher tier players can start to cast, I'll bring them on and rotate around just a little bit. But alas, here we are in game number 1 of this best of 3 series, finally loaded in. So now, as I mentioned, there are some interesting picks on both sides. I'm going to be very curious to see how this Kraken fares. As I said, he's a hero that was picked up like 80-90% of games, and then he just dropped off after they nerfed his ultimate to not be superior magic through Shrunken Head. In particular, the stun doesn't go through Shrunken Head. The damage may actually still, but I know for a fact that the stun will not. That doesn't necessarily mean Kraken is a bad hero, though. He's certainly one that can still do a lot of damage and has a very, very strong lane presence. We talk a lot in many a cast about some heroes just not having effective farming tools. Heroes like Pestilence that just really can't farm nearly as effectively as some of these heroes like Kraken who have that splash mechanic. In the early stages, give him such a great laning presence. He can really do a lot of damage. Of course, early on, one of his handicaps is that relatively low mana pool, but he can farm very nicely. Go ahead and start out with a Hatchet here, and it looks like Demented Shaman is going to be headed up to that top lane to lane with Mr. Kraken. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares, and Kraken can also transition into a little bit more of a carry hero. You certainly could go the Bulwark into Demonic Breastplate, straight into Shieldbreaker kind of a route. If you are one such person that likes that minus armor and the synergy that it brings with the Demented Shaman dual lane, certainly viable there. It looks like Pebbles Aluna will be headed into the mid lane, then down here in the bottom it is going to be a Wretched Hag, Mr. Q Ralph Mador. Oh gosh, this team. I'm going to be tongue-tied this entire match just looking at these names here with all the Qs. It is ridiculous. So, oh gosh, looks like another remake here, unfortunately. Issues, all sorts of issues all around here. So again, my apologies. My apologies. Bum 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 bum. Alright. So I'm desperately awaiting this game starting. Be honest, I did not have that much filler content prepared. I was not ready. I was ready for this to be a very easy, quick, seamless best of 3 series. And yeah. So it is very exciting indeed. If you want to check out more about this event and you're curious where the brackets are, you can go to summer.dreamhon.com, and that's where pretty much everything about this event can be found. I know that brackets are right there. If you click on Stage 1, that'll take you right to it. Of course, Stage 1 is the single elimination round, followed up by Stage 2, which of course is the group round. Just waiting on a couple of players to load in here. Alright, so no promises, but things looking good here. Still waiting on that one last individual, and we should finally, without much more ado, be able to get into game number 1. Looks like Orange is having some sort of PC issue. I'm not sure exactly what the deal is. They may very well be playing in a LAN center right now. Of course, keep in mind, it is 12 hours ahead over in the SEA region. I know it's 12 hours ahead in Singapore. I don't know exactly where all of these players are located, but it's about 3 in the morning, 3 a.m. or so for Orange Esports Malaysia. And I have no idea where qTm is from, but possibly EU. I think that's the case. If it's SEA versus EU, they play US West. That's usually the case here. You take a look at the pings, and well, maybe the Legion team is more American than not. Looking at the difference in ping, quite the advantage for qTm here. Not a big surprise. Southeast Asians tend to be used to playing on that lag difference. It's one of those things you just kind of get used to playing in a global environment. So in between these breaks, I usually leave the VOD clip running so that we can catch all of the drafting. But there's that fine line of how long is this taking, where you can just cue up some music in the background and just patiently wait. And we are getting very close to that mark that we will go ahead and do that. And we'll see how long it'll take Orange to get their last player. Oh, there it is. Handle a baby. You're going to be able to load in. So perhaps we'll be able to wait patiently. Shout outs to our amazing sponsors, Quasar and Quaid Call. Oh, God. Quack's writing Quessy. Oh, gosh. The trolling never ends. This is very interesting. I'm really curious who this group is. I'm sure they're someone. You know, they're maybe friends of TDM. I don't know. It's just funny. It makes me giggle. I wish I knew who these Smurfs were. I really do, but I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to be curious to see how they fare in this game. If they're just a complete troll group, or if it is more of kind of a like fun in the sun lineup, where it is a series of relatively skilled players with just kind of goofy, trolly names. Hard to say, but regardless, guys, third time's a charm. We are finally loading into what I believe will be the last time that I say the beginning of game number 1. Let's make it happen. We see a G coming out. That is certainly a good sign. Hopefully it is G for go. That is what I'm hoping for. GLHF. Well, at least qTm is nicely mannered here. Oh, that's so friendly. Look at this. GLHF, GLHF. Oh, everybody's just fun in the sun. Have fun. So friendly. Smiles, high fives, giggles all around the room. Anyhow, let's take a look at these lanes. We were just going over qTm during that last remake. Qualfmador in the bottom on that Wretched Hat, going to be in the close lane. A Luna Pebble is going to be in the mid lane. Q-Kid as well as Quender. Oh man, up in the top lane here, Q-Freak and Coon Meander. Oh gosh, Coon Meander, I don't know, that's terrible. Anyway, Kraken Demented Shaman going to be the top lane here for qTm. Of course, facing off here against XXF on Silhouette is going to be solo in the close lane. It looks like you're going to see Flux in the mid lane, and then down here in the bottom, looks like things are going to start off in sort of a tri-lane scenario. But uh-oh, Wretched Hag going to wander into the wrong part of town. She's going to get caught. Is the stun not going to be there? Indeed, it shall. Mr. Ghost going to be the one to walk away with the Bloodlust. Bonus 200 gold, very nicely done by Orange Esports right there. Now we're going to be able to see, will they break up this tri-lane, or are they going to stick to it? And it looks like it is going to break up a little bit here, which does lead for sort of interesting lanes. Meraxis Magmus going to be down here in this bottom lane as Engineer roams towards the mid to lane with Flux right here. Should be interesting. These are not really the lanes I would have predicted. I think our Legion team, it's safe to say, has a very straightforward laning phase. Their roster has a couple of surprise picks, as we noted, mostly that Kraken, but other than that, their lanes make a lot of sense, a very straightforward lineup. Orange Esports, on the other hand, one of these lineups where it seems like they're all kind of, they've all picked very powerful heroes, yet their lanes don't seem to be quite as strong. A lot of teamfight potential, though, seeing the Magmus ulti mixed with the Flux Engineer duo, and of course Meraxis with that AoE Quake Stun, then Silhouette there just for some carry potential, a nice bit of follow-up damage as well. it's a solid lineup. Just this laning phase is going to be kind of strange. The golden ticket for Orange Esports here is going to be to survive the early phase of this match, to carry it on kind of as late as they can and just get that Silhouette beefed up. It makes me a little bit nervous seeing Silhouette up in the solo lane. At least she's in the close lane here, but seeing her go against the Demented Shaman Kraken duo, it's going to be a little bit difficult. I mentioned Kraken having that really strong laning presence in one of the first remakes here. And that will make it a little bit more difficult for Silhouette. At least she will fall victim to a fair amount of harass here in the top lane. I don't think XXF is going to be able to take off too easily in this game. Seems kind of a slow start here, sitting 1-1. Certainly not where he wants to be. Meanwhile, Kraken only 2-0, so he's really not getting the best of the farm either. It looks like qTm really not farming well at all. In the mid lane, Pebbles or Luna still not able to pick up a creep kill. It was sort of an oddly structured sentence there, but neither of them able to secure a single creep kill thus far. That makes me a little bit nervous. I mean, Flux Engineer is not one of those lane combos that comes to mind as particularly dirty. So seeing them doing so well to start things off, I mean, keeping Pebbles completely pushed back is certainly scary, scary news. Looking at this GPM chart here, Orange Esports is off to a great start. It looks like they're actually winning all three of the lanes, particularly this mid lane, though. Engineer and Flux sort of sharing the farm, double dipping, if you will, but looking very, very good. They desperately want to set something up here, pardon me. All tongue-tied already today. Magnus wants to do something here in the mid lane, though Shuyu has just been patiently waiting at the side, looking for that opportunity to catch either this Pebbles or a Luna, and he's yet to find the opportunity he's been waiting for, but very, very patiently he waits. An Engineer going to join him onto the side here. He's going to pick up a ward, it looks like. Do a little bit of scouting with the courier. Luna needs to be a little bit careful though here. She may be wandering into dangerous territory. No, she's going to head back to the lane, but almost getting caught. Nice ward of Rev going to be used by Shuyu here and is going to come down, and Quender is going to get his ward countered. Down it goes. So it looks like they may be baiting a little bit, trying to pull that Luna out of the lane. Plan almost working, but Luna playing a little bit heads up there, not going to overcommit. So all the while, though, Flux just farming away in the mid lane. I think Pebbles was able to pick up one creep kill. There it is, 1-1. Flux sitting 16-7. So obviously, handle a baby here on Flux, having a very, very nice time to start things off. This Pebbles is going to be very, very underfarmed unless we see a big turnaround. See, Richard Hag actually doing okay in this game for the Legion side, though. Off to a notably slow start, sitting 6-5, and also, of course, getting bloodlusted. That it did open up a window for Raxus to get the better of the farm, sitting 12-7, so just about doubling the effects of a Mr. Wretched Hag down here in the bottom lane. I like that Orange Esports isn't being too aggressive here, though it does make me a little bit nervous for Mr. Magnus. She's still sitting level 1. I don't know if he's really even touched a creep yet. No, he has not, sitting 0-0-1. His only source of income has been from that one assist early on when they picked up the Bloodlust. Silhouette is having a reasonably good time up here as well, sitting around 200 GPM, sitting 12-1 against the 14-1 Kraken. So despite what should be a pretty solid lane advantage here for qTm, really isn't turning out to be so. Silhouette is farming just fine and actually going blow to blow with Kraken. In the mid lane, though, it looks like we could see some initiation. There's an invisible electrician going to connect with the keg. Flux is going to go in and do a bit of damage. I think Pebbles is doomed for here. He's going to try and micro his way into the trees. Going to cut one down with the hatchet, and not a bad plan, but I don't know that he's going to be able to survive. Engineers to be very careful here. He's going to get comboed down, not going to be nearly enough for a kill. Luna going to come in with a power throw. There's a beautifully placed keg for Mr. Ghost. That's going to throw Q-Kid into a terrible position. Flux going to be able to finish him off, and that's going to be the end of it. Up in the top lane, all the while, we're going to see some action. Demented Shaman going to get engaged on. No Unbreakable, and it looks like that may be the end of him. Silhouette may very well fall here as well. A beautiful charge from Kraken. Isn't going to be enough, though. Will XXF fall for it? A splash is up, so he will go down with this one auto attack. Gonna micro it away, and there it is. The keg gonna connect, and with the defensive turret as well, that should be plenty for Silhouette. Trying to turn around, and oh gosh, a big misplay there from XXF. Trying to go for the big plays, but unfortunately is gonna get taken out by creeps when he tries to throw the tree grapple. So very unfortunate for Orange Esports, but of course they still came out wildly ahead right there. Now 3-1 with about a 2k gold advantage, as well as a 1.2k experience advantage. Only 5 minutes in here to match number 1. So continuing on, Orange Esports picking up a very nice lead to start things off, and most importantly, that Silhouette picking up a kill. Unfortunately, conceding that death somewhat needlessly is going to hold him back just a bit, but still able to pick up a kill. And as I said, even just able to get pretty much any creep kills in a 2v1, especially a lane like this where Kraken has that splash to constantly harass, and Demented Shaman can harass all day long. It is a little bit upsetting to see. You're going to see Magmus come up here with the double damage. Demented Shaman does have Unbreakable now. He's going to go ahead and use it. Magmus not even going to throw the stun. Oh, not enough mana for that Lava Surge, pardon me. Thought he was just playing defensively there for the sake of being defensive. But indeed waiting for that last little bit of mana. He may try and man up here. Kraken needs to be very, very careful. Needs to be mindful not to play too far forward. If he gets caught, it could be the end of him. That double damage will serve as quite the powerful tool. But the opportunity not going to come about, and they're just going to opt to pressure the tower instead. As Demented Shaman heads over to the Observatory here to pick up a potion, get back to an acceptable level of hit points to head back to the lane. The mid lane here, Handle a Baby, still farming very nicely, actually leading the way in farm in this game, and the only one above 300 GPM at the moment. Glancing at the stats, you can certainly understand why. 1-0-0, sitting with 31 creep kills, the most in the game by quite the margin. Q-Free going to get engaged on, though, and they are going to be able to take him out. Pardon me, Unbreakable going to be used. Oh my gosh, and he's going to survive with 2 hit points. The keg not going to connect. Just a bad batch of RNG right there. Unfortunately, that one last auto attack from Silhouette wasn't enough, and Demented Shaman will be able to survive. So a nice Unbreakable, though certainly a bit of luck on his side to survive that kill attempt. Down here in the bottom lane, that's how things are continuing to unfold. Wretched Hag sitting just about 12 and 10, and we'll hold that thought as Pebbles gets engaged on here in the mid lane. The keg will connect, unfortunately going to push him away instead of 2. They will not be able to set up that kill. Down near the bottom lane, Merax is actually going to use his ultimate. It does have quite a bit of a charge on it, and may be able to try and set something up on Hag, but actually just going to sit back, not going to pop it on top of Hag. So anyway, looking at the creep score though, 13 and 10 for Wretched Hag. Merax has 29 and 14, so he's having a hell of a time down here as well. He started off with a hatchet, and that can be so difficult for a Wretched Hag. She has such low base damage. Hag can be in big trouble here though. He's going to have that blink on cooldown for another 9 seconds. There's the Quake, and I think this is going to be a kill for Wang Wang. Indeed it is, going to finish him off with that chainsaw. Very nicely done. Beautiful read to see that Qualfmador use that blink a bit too prematurely. Up in the top lane, almost able to set something up on Kraken. Unfortunately, that Tsunami charge making him a hard target to lock down. He is going to be able to charge his way to safety. In the mid lane, though, there is some initiation. Engineer going to take a hell of a lot of damage. Flux just going to man up here. He's going to be able to get the kill despite diving the tower. Handle a Baby now going to continue on to a Luna. Quender may be in a bad position here. Going to try and chase down this Engineer. Will connect with the power throw. Very nicely done. In comes support from Wretched Hag as well. There is a Bat Blast up, and I think Handle a Baby is doomed for here. There's the aggressive blink from Hag. Actually going to go to the low ground and may miss an auto. I'm not sure if he missed 1 or 2 of those auto attacks, but unfortunately didn't position himself as best as he could have. Handle a Baby in a very bad position here, though. Does have plenty of charges on that power supply as well as a health potion. He may actually be able to survive this. Beautifully done. He is going to juke around, is going to maybe bump into creeps. Oh, needs to be very careful here. Although I think he's going to be able to survive this no problem, even if he gets engaged on by Pebbles. Very, very nicely done. He's just going to wander around the back. Pebbles going to be wise to it, but not much he can do without boots. No way he's going to be able to chase him around, and Handle a Baby going to be able to survive. So Flux continuing his domination streak in this game. Still the #1 farmer, just below 300 GPM now, but sitting with 2 hero kills in the bank. So very, very nicely done right there. All the while, Silhouette continuing to farm in the top lane. It seems Kraken is the only hope for this Legion side, as he's the only one farming at a reasonable level right now, sitting around 250 GPM, and Silhouette is nipping at his heels, sitting around 230 as well, at least trying to deny this lane a little bit to prevent Kraken from getting absolute free farm. Silhouette now sitting level 6, as is Kraken, so that's when things may start to get interesting. In the mid lane, we do have some initiation onto Pebbles. He is level 6, actually going to do a lot of damage here, trying to set this kill up onto Magmus. The Steam Bath going to come out, and it's not going to be enough. There is an Unbreakable onto Pebbles here. It is going to get proc. He's going to fall. Mr. Ghost going to be the one to pick up the kill. Tralfmador actually, or Qualfmador I should say, did fall in the bottom lane. Did the hands of Wang Wang as well. Did miss that bit of action, but probably a very similar scenario as to what we saw last time. Looks like Wang Wang did use the ultimate to secure the kill. ORGE Sports now up 2-7 here, only 10 minutes in, so they are ahead by a pretty nice margin. Really in great shape to start things off in game #1 of this best of 3 series against qTm. The trolling TDM team, I'm not sure exactly how to coin them here. Of course, replacing all of those normal letters there with a Q. So a relatively action-packed game, though. Basically a kill a minute. Can't be too upset with that kind of action. Looks like they may be opting to set something up onto Wretched Hag down here, who has been struggling throughout the game. And just glancing at the inventories, I mean, you can see that huge difference in gold really starting to shine. Pretty much everyone on the Hellborn side has boots. Well, they all have boots. Most of them have upgraded boots. Actually, Magma's the only one still sitting on those little red booties. While on the Legion side, we still see several heroes without any boots of their own. Kraken, the only one with boots upgraded past that of little red booties. So a really big difference in the inventories to start things off here in this game is going to make it very, very difficult for qTm to start making a very viable comeback. And we talked about this team being particularly aggressive early on. You know, Kraken, Bubble, or Pebbles, and Wretched Hag are all heroes that can play that carry role if they get enough farm and have a good enough of a start. But Silhouette is already off to a better start than pretty much all of those heroes. I mean, Kraken is sort of on par, but still, that's very scary to see a hero like Silhouette off to such a good start. I mean, even the rest of Orange Esports team isn't really that bad. They have a lot of team fight potential, so you know, they're just in such a great spot. I see it being very difficult for them to throw this game unless something really radical happens here in the upcoming moments. We do see more great counter warding action coming about as Mr. Ghost throws down a Ward of Revelation. Does pick up a little bit more map control here. Looks like there could be some action in the top lane against Kraken as well. Magma's just hiding in the trees, wanting to do something. Unfortunately, just not finding that window of opportunity he's looking for. This Kraken actually playing very well this game. So far, Kraken is sitting 1-0-0 and has been positioning himself very, very nicely. We see him not getting greedy, playing very cautiously, recognizing that quite a few members from Orange Esports are actually missing right now. They very well could be trying to set up a gank near his lane. Pardon me. So we do see some action here. Pebbles going to be the one to get engaged on by Flux, and it looks like Pebbles is going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. Is going to throw down a Stalagmites that will connect with both Flux and Silhouette there. Unfortunately, not going to be enough to save his life. The ultimate from Flux going to be used. It's looking very, very bad here. A nice release the Kraken, but it's not going to be enough to stop his team from getting decimated. A 3-for-0 exchange so far. XXF with that double tap. Kraken and Wretched Hag, the only two left alive, and that's because Hag's been solo farming at the bottom all the while, desperately trying to make back some of that lost farm from this early game. Still only barely above 100 GPM. We see Miraxis with the double damage rune is down here, ready to make something happen to shut down this Hag, and can do it quite easily. She is still so squishy, no boots, and really no tanky items to speak of. There we go. Red boots actually just now going to be delivered. Not going to help her so much in the survivability department as far as adding to that max hit point pool. But starting to look like a little bit of a demolition derby here in favor of Orange Esports. They are just in damn good shape across the board. Every single one of these tabs is vastly in their favor. The GPM, and most notably here, the XP per minute chart as well. 3 heroes just completely dominating. A little bit sad to think that Wretched Hag is the leading XP farmer here for the Legion side. She has spent quite a bit of time in lane, but really hasn't had much of a presence in this match. So that is definitely a little bit scary. Looking at the hero damage done as well, well, not particularly scary, I suppose, but seeing Flux that high as well. Silhouette that's this high this early on is just sort of an indicator as to how much fighting's actually been happening in this match, just as well as how active Silhouette's been able to be as far as harassing this Kraken and putting some damage onto Demented Shaman as well. Orange Esports, though, trying to stay active about the map. They are moving around looking for those gank opportunities pretty much wherever possible, but they are going to settle back down into the lanes. Magma's Flux going to keep this mid lane under control and handle a baby, man. He has just been farming away this entire match. I don't think he's gone back to the well yet. Sitting 2-0-4, pardon me. I don't think he's had to really go back at all. I mean, he's just been in such great shape, farming away in the mid lane, using that power supply to heal up, potions and whatnot from the observatories. He's been in great shape. You're going to see Mr. Ghost not in such great shape, though. He's going to get caught here, and unfortunately, I think he is going to fall. The bat may be enough to tick him down, and actually it is going to be, and we're going to see Qualfmador be the one to pick up that kill. So, Mr. Ghost going to be caught in a little bit of a bad position there, but really no big deal. Still a 10-3 lead in favor of Orange Esports here. Looks like all 5 heroes for the Legion side, though, are going to roam their way to the mid lane, and they want to make something happen, recognizing that they're fairly far behind. They are going to group up, and they're going to try to make something happen here. They can catch a nice release of the Kraken. This very well could be an opportunity. A beautiful stun from Magma's going to come in. He's going to channel the ulti, but unfortunately going to get pulled into the Kraken ultimate, although that Kraken ultimate was absolutely huge. It really just was not enough. I mean, clumping up like that, way favoring the Hellborn side, as we can see a 4-for-0 exchange. Very, very nicely done by Orange Esports Esports. Kraken will be able to survive as they do guess the wrong way, but still a very, very convincing team fight. 10K experience, 11K gold now favoring ORGE Esports Malaysia. And I see very little opportunity for them to throw this game right now at that 15-minute mark. And you have to be thinking that concede button is looking a little bit tempting for qTm here, as we are nearing that point of no return where there's just absolutely no way they're going to be able to make this happen. Seeing the level difference as well. I mean, their level range is 4 to 8 on the Hellborn side. That level range is 6 to 11, so quite the vast difference there. 3 heroes above that, well, in the double digits at least, level 10, level 11, where we see so many single-digit level heroes on the qTm side of things. Very unfortunate indeed from their perspective. Looking at item choices, we see 2 portal keys now picked up for ORGE Esports. Handle a baby on that Flux. Going to go ahead and pick up his portal key, as will Wang Wang on that Meraxis. So the initiation power is there now between the Flux Ultimate and the Quake from Wang Wang. There should be no problem engaging these team fights here for ORGE Esports. We see Silhouette farming away as well, now getting pretty close to that Nullstone route if she's going to go Nullstone first. Given how far ahead ORGE Esports is in this game, she may very well opt for just Portal Key first, something slightly more aggressive. No, going to go ahead and pick up the Blessed Orb, so perhaps not. Very well could go for the Geometer's Bane as well. If she's feeling like this game is kind of won at this point, he can be a little bit more creative with those item choices. We'll see what XXF wants to do here. Of course, Nullstone first, a very normal pickup on Silhouette, but slightly more defensive. And when you're this far ahead, might be a little bit of overkill as far as you know, not taking too many risks. Magnus going to be hiding out down here in the bottom lane. Going to be looking to set something up onto Hag potentially, though he's going to need to be careful. So we see qTm is on the aggressive, and Meraxis may walk right into him. Aluna going to lead the way here. Aluna may be the one that needs to be a little bit careful. She's going to initiate with that stun. A beautiful line stun from Magnus, going to catch all 3 heroes. Meraxis going to go straight in with that ultimate. That's going to obliterate Aluna. He's going to go straight in. Pebble's going to try and focus down this Magnus. The Bat Blast going to come out as well. Shuyu may find himself going down here. He's going to be able to stun away, though, and that is going to be his ticket to survive. Qualfmador not going to connect to that Sonar Scream, so he's going to be able to pour it out. Wang Wang going to walk right by, but there it is. The concede going to come out. GG well played as well, and it looks like we're going to be going into a quick game number 2 here. ORGE Esports with a very, very convincing win to start things off. We can take a look at the post-game stats here, and yeah, you can really understand why that was a 17-minute concede. ORGE Esports looking damn good to start things off. So, like I said, only game number 1 in a best-of-3 series. We got another match coming up here momentarily. I'm Zyori. You are watching the DreamHoN SEA channel. Of course, this is the DreamHoN Summer Championships round of 128. We got another match coming your way here in just a minute.
Time goes by.